It's still tea or coffee on High Impact Television. Now, this is the moment that you all would be waiting for. We also we're excited about this moment, and I'm talking about we having a guest in the studio to talk about the topic on storytelling, a tool for social change. Right here in the studio, we have Joel Kachi Benson. He is a filmmaker and he is a passionate storyteller. He holds a diploma in software engineering and also has received formal and informal trainings with certificates in filmmaking outside the country. Now, his works includes Cry for Mercy, In Bakassi, and Daughters of Chibok, among others. Daughters of Chibok, a virtual reality documentary, premiered at the Venice Film Festival in September of this year, and the documentary won the award for Best Immersive Story, making Joel the first African to win the prestigious Venice Lion in this category. Joel lives and works in Nigeria, where he manages JB Multimedia Studios and VL360 Stories. Good morning, Joel Kachi Benson, and you're welcome.
Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
But first question on my mind is, how does a software engineer start telling stories? How did you venture into filmmaking?
I've always been a storyteller. They just forced me to go and, But it worked for me because, while doing software engineering, I learned, I did programming, and so you learn logic, and I think sometimes I apply it now to even filmmaking and storytelling. You want to ask yourself, okay, why am I telling this story? What really does it mean? What are the steps that I should take? That kind of stuff. So I think whatever it is that you learn, they say no knowledge gained is lost. So you use it somehow.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've always been passionate about stories.
Okay, so let's talk filmmaking. When did you start? How did you decide, okay, you know what, beyond telling the story, let's make this into film?
Yeah. So, I stumbled on a camcorder years ago.
Okay.
And just fell in love with this tool that I could use to, document stuff. But back in the day, I used to do all kinds of things.
Okay.
Music videos, events, wedding, burial, everything. It was part of the whole mix. But there wasn't that satisfaction. It was just, we were creating stuff. However, I made a documentary once, and I totally fell in love with just telling these real human stories. And from then on, I decided that, I'll be making documentaries.
What documentary was that?
So it was a show called Leadership and Lifestyle.
Okay.
And basically we're just profiling people who sort of like grass to grace stories.
Okay.
But it inspired me a lot because then I was meeting these people and hearing their stories, and it was really inspiring. I felt like I would love to do more of this. I would love to document people. And so that's how I started. But my biggest passion has always been, how can I tell better stories? So that's always been the thing that drives me. I always want to tell better stories. How do I look for the best stories to tell, and how do I tell them properly? So I've spent the bulk of all these past years just learning and relearning how to tell stronger and more impactful stories, yes.
Okay, let's talk about the Daughter of Chibok.
Yeah, Daughters of Chibok.
Daughters of Chibok that you worked on, the documentary. Now, when the story of Chibok girls came out, a lot of people had different perspectives towards it. Now, what went through your mind when you were going to shoot this story as a documentary? What exactly was the process of bringing out this documentary and telling the story to the world, basically?
So as a storyteller, first and foremost, I use my stories the journey of telling my stories is used to understand issues and my world better. Just like you said, so many accounts of the kidnap of the Chibok girls that it was, at some point, it was just hard to separate fact from fiction.
Yes.
And so personally, I was also curious. I wanted to go and find out for myself. And so that was it. It was a journey of sort of trying to find out what really happened. How did it happen? Why did it happen? Who are the people that it happened to? And so when we went to Chibok, we spoke to quite a few people.
Okay.
The mothers, the fathers, a couple of the girls that were returned. And in doing that, I sort of understood better, than when before then, what had sort of transpired in the community, and that was when we decided, what, we need to tell the story. It's important that we tell the story, especially because of the fact that Chibok is so remote that, I mean, how many people can access it? How many people can go there? It's really far. So yeah.
So this documentary did get an award at the Venice Film Festival.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, for me, it's the first time I'm seeing a documentary in VR, in 360. I did see the trailer, and I did see that, oh, okay, this is really like a 360 video.
Yes.
Now, how does that change the scope of storytelling for you? You know, on a normal day, you see people do normal documentaries. You just change shots, close up, long shots, medium wide, and all of that.
Yeah.
But this is more or less like you're seeing the entire thing.
Yes.
So how does that change the scope of storytelling for you?
I mean, I think that with virtual reality, which is what we used, you are able to push the envelope of storytelling, and you are creating this immersive experience that allows the viewer to decide what they want to see, when they want to see it.
Okay.
All right. There's not really that much. I mean, you do a bit of editing, yes, as a filmmaker, but they choose what they want to see. In regular 2D filmmaking, you've chosen the frame,
Yes.
you put it there. This is what I want you to see at this time. Okay. Now I want you to see her face. I want to see, but in VR, it doesn't work that way. So, but it's used to, what I say is that virtual reality, for me, is a tool that is used to take people to places that they ordinarily would not have access to. That, for me, I think is the most powerful use for VR, especially when you're doing live action VR, which is what I do, where, you're shooting actual places. So it helps you to push the envelope. The first time I wore a VR headset, I knew immediately that I was going to use it to tell stories. I've been making regular films before now, but when I wore the headset, I was like, no way, man. No way. We're going to have to make some films with this thing. And I don't regret that decision,
All right.
Sorry. I'm still in my head. I'm trying to wrap up. In 2014,
Yes.
when the Chibok story broke, there were a lot of different nuances to it. You could hear different sides of the story. You could hear things that were true, things that were not true. People, they didn't even initially have an exact figure of the number of girls that were taken in that community. And you just had things like over 200, over 200, over 200. And then later, some returned, some died, some have been married. Until date, there are still about 190 something?
112.
112 now. That are, 112, that's true. That are yet to return. I mean, nobody knows their fate. Nobody knows where they are.
What is happening with them?
I see this as a way of capturing the emotions behind this. Now, okay, please.
Yeah, I mean,
finish your thought.
What I was going to say was that, you made a comment in the beginning that for the past 5 years, the narrative or the dialogue has been about the girls. And that's a valid dialogue that we should have. However, we don't have too many people talking about the fate or the plight of the parents, especially the mothers. It would interest you to know that, according to the community, 33 parents have died as a result of trauma directly linked to the loss of their children. And this is not things that we should ignore. Because then you have a situation whereby if you now say, okay, the girls start returning, they return not to meet their parents. So for me, it was a case of how do I use this story to shine the light on an issue that hasn't been much talked about. It's easy to go there and just do the same narrative of bringing back the girls. But that's not what this film is about.
Different angles.
This film is about remembering the fact that they have parents, the parents are still there,
relatives.
and they're going through a tough time. They don't have psychosocial support or therapy. They are really poor farmers whose yield is very, very little, next to nothing, and that we should do something about it.
Now, where I was going with my narrative was, how is there an intention, apart from just making the film?
Yes.
Is there an intention to force, maybe a resolution or force okay, even if you can't get the daughters back, even if you don't know the fate of these girls, how about we look at this community and see what can be done to at least erase the pain, or if the pain cannot be erased anyway, but what can be done to alleviate the pain, to make it better? At least while we are waiting, let's just see. Also, is that something you aimed for at the beginning? Was that the purpose, or it was just about telling the story?
So, like I said, initially it was a curiosity project. I was curious. I wanted to go to Chibok, find out what's going on there, take my camera along, make a film. Halfway through the film, I say to the woman in the story, I say, hey, take me to your farm. Let me just get some shots there. And she takes me to this dry place. I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, Mama, take me to your farm. She said, this is my farm. And she goes and scratches the ground and brings out some nuts and shows me. I'm in shock. So I said, okay, you know what's going to happen? I think I found, a reason for this, my film now. I can't bring back your daughter. I don't think any civilian really has that. But what we can do is that we can use this film to amplify your voice and the voices of the other women in the community. And we can see how we can get support for you and the other women so that at least you can increase your yield, let your farming be a bit more, And so that's what this is about, really. Okay, the film was originally designed to come back, show it to my friends, some people, raise some money, go back there, buy them fertilizer and all that kind of stuff. And just, at least we've done our own bit. And really, that's what we're still doing, So, but we didn't know it was going to win an award and then become, global news and then be everywhere and all of that. So, but what we've done is that we've set up a GoFundMe, and so people are donating. We also have an account here in Nigeria. People are donating. So we're collating all of that, and once the time is right, we will go back to Chibok and say, hey, look, you know what? This is what we've been able to raise for you guys. And here you are, take it and use it as inputs into your farms. I mean, there's something that someone has committed to doing, which is really exciting for us.
Okay.
And but we're still keeping it under wraps. But I mean, it's dope to use that.
Okay. But you're not going to share it.
Well, no, because it's still under. But I mean, when we do it, we will share the news. But what I'm happy about is the fact that a simple idea to go and make a film is resulting in some level of change for the people there. And I think that's what gives me joy about what I do. I feel like I have a responsibility as a filmmaker to use my films to shine the light on issues that people don't talk about, amplify people's voices that ordinarily will not be heard, and just bring about some change, some impact, no matter how small, in communities and the lives of people.
Many thanks for watching our video. I do hope you liked it. Join our YouTube family by clicking on the subscribe button, and of course, do not forget the notification bell so you get a notification every single time we post a new video. Like, share, subscribe. Adios.
For the past 5 years, the narrative or the dialogue has been about the girls. And that's a valid dialogue that we should have. However, we don't have too many people talking about the fate or the plight of the parents, especially the mothers.